Hello, everybody, and welcome to Sake Revolution. This is America's first sake podcast, and I'm one of your hosts. My name is John Puma. You may know me from the Sake Notes. You may also know me as the guy who runs the internet sake Discord. And if you pop over to Reddit's r/sake community, you'll also see me there.
And I'm your other host, Timothy Sullivan. I'm a sake samurai. I'm a sake educator, as well as the founder of the Urban Sake website. And every week, John and I will be here tasting and chatting about all things sake and doing our best to make it fun and easy to understand.
I have to first apologize to our listeners. We made a promise last week that our next few episodes would have been taped live at the American Craft Sake Festival. And here we are, the third week after that, and we have already moved on to something else. Now, don't fret. This is not us moving on. This is just having a topic that was very timely. If we waited till we were done with all the Craft Sake episodes, it might have been too late.
Well, there's late breaking news on the resolution front. I actually just returned from a brief but impactful trip to Japan.
Yeah.
So I fulfilled my revolution resolution for this year, but I made a vow years ago never to return to Japan in August. And I broke that vow for this business trip, had to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the time I spent with friends and coworkers was fabulous, but it was summer. It was August in Tokyo.
Mm-hmm.
You know what that means?
Yeah, it's hot. I have been told I've never been to Japan in the summertime. And that is because anyone I've ever met who has been to Japan in the summertime has told me, whatever you do not go to Japan in the summertime. And I follow instructions remarkably well when it comes to hot weather.
Well, it was the word that comes to mind is swampy. Swampy. Like you step outside and it's like you're stepping into humidity soup. That's kind of what it feels like. Yeah.
It sounds like Florida in like July.
It's really humid, really hot. And the Japanese word for humid is my favorite. Humid weather is mushi atsui. Like mushy hotness.
No, I got it.
Mushi atsui.
I like that one a lot. That was really good.
I'm not sure that's the real translation, but that's what it sounds like. Now,
and now you're back.
I'm back.
You've accomplished your goal for this year, and now you're not going to go back to Japan at all for the rest of the year, right?
I wouldn't say that. There might be maybe there's another trip in me yet, but I thought that while it's still summer here, we should talk about kind of a new category of sake that's emerged in Japan.
Yeah, my understanding is that this type of sake we're going to be talking about today has only been around for, well, since around 2007 or so. That's recent.
That's really recent. I don't know the style much from before then. So what are we talking about today?
Well, in honor of your hot and sweating
to the oldies
visit to Tokyo, in honor of your hot and sweaty visit to Tokyo, we're going to talk about summer sake. The Natsu Sake. Natsu is, of course, summer in Japanese. It's very straightforward. Not a lot of mystery there.
As you just said, Natsu means summer in Japanese. So Natsu Sake is just summer sake.
Yeah, summer sake. It's nice and easy. Rolls off the tongue.
Yeah.
If you're careful. And so what there's a lot of structure we have found in sake. A lot of things with specific names, and specific names have specific meanings. So Natsu Sake, summer sake, what defines summer sake?
Well, this is kind of a new marketing term. It is not legally defined by Japan. So it is just something that brewers label their sake when it's released for consumption in summer and usually shipped to arrive to consumers in summer. So there's no other definition other than it's available in summertime or it's a seasonal release for breweries.
All right. So does it have any like common characteristics to it? Like obviously nothing that is being thrust upon them because there's no hard and fast rules about it, but like what are they going for? What's the Here's a good one. What's the vibe of summer sake?
Well, if you go into a liquor store in Japan in the
Mhm.
summer, there's probably going to be a shelf of summer sake for these sake specialty liquor stores.
Mhm.
And they all have common characteristics. Now, you and I have talked about fall release sake, right? Hiya
Yes.
Oroshi.
Hiyaroshi.
Yeah. And that has very common packaging to it. There's always like autumn leaves tumbling on the label and things like that.
Mhm.
And it's not,
A lot of red, a lot of brown.
yes, very much those autumnal vibes. And it's similar for Natsu or summer sake. Very often the bottles are clear and or frosted white,
Mhm.
and the labels often have some kind of sky blue component to the label, and they just give off this really cool, refreshing vibe to them. So that's the whole notion behind this summer seasonal sake. You've seen a few on the shelves here in New York, right?
Oh, yeah. I wanna say that we started getting, Natsu Sake here in New York only a few years ago. It's a recent phenomenon. In my mind, it's like 2018, 2019. It feels like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do have to say that it feels like there's more now than there ever have been in the past. Like it feels like a real trend that's picked up, and many breweries have started to release a summer sake.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like the idea, and I have had quite a few of them. If you go to Japan in late May, you can sometimes see them on the shelf at the like so when I've gone to Japan in late May a few times, or dipping into early June a little bit, and they start to show up on like the tail end. The last couple of days of the trip, you start to see them on the shelves.
Yeah.
And yeah, it definitely comes across as something that's a little bit like refreshing. It's supposed to be something you're having nice and cold. Like I really like that. Is there anything else about them that I should know if I'm going to be sipping on some summer sake?
Well, one other thing that I was thinking about this is that, for winter, it's very common to drink warm sake, and sake
Mhm.
has a real home in the wintertime. But in the summertime, it's most people's go to beverage is going to be like an ice cold beer or something a little bit more refreshing. So I think this is also a marketing opportunity. And I think to combat sagging sales in the summer, brewers more recently came up with this concept of summer seasonal releases to boost sales. So I can't deny that there's a little bit of a marketing angle in there too.
I'm sure there is. So what should we expect from the taste though? Like I mentioned
Mm.
that things are going for refreshing, but like what's really going on there?
Yeah, I think there's a few characteristics when you actually get to drinking the sake that are important. One, they're 100% always meant to be consumed cold. So you want something well chilled, refreshing, and that usually translates to cleaner,
Mhm.
drier, and usually something that has that refreshing, crisp finish to it. So this is starting to go
So
right up my alley.
I was about to say
And
this sounds like a dream season for you, with the
and
possible exception of having to be in Japan in the summertime.
another thing that you often see in the summer sakes is low alcohol, because you
Mhm.
don't want to be sweating to the oldies in the summer and just downing too much alcohol. You're going to keel right over. So a touch lower alcohol, sometimes sparkling, ice cold sparkling is also
Mm.
seen for summer sake, but just think crisp, refreshing, light, and delicious.
Nice. So how much lower are we talking here? Are we talking like 6%? Or are we talking more like 14%?
It can range from
Oh,
8 to 10% up to 14, 15%. But
mm.
usually they veer below 15 just to get just the edge of lightness to them.
This year, I had on a few occasions, I had the kids, summer sake, the, Heiwashuzo Kid, Natsu Sake, which is very light, very refreshing. Has a nice little bit of fruit to it too.
Mm.
Dry, crisp finish. Mm, really tasty stuff. I really liked it a lot. Didn't see as many this year as I think I might have seen in past years, but it's still nice to see them on the shelves.
Yeah. Like we just said, there's been a number coming out,
Mhm.
coming to the States. So there's a wide variety to choose from. And I think that as long as I'm in the AC, I can really enjoy those crisp, light summer style sakes even more.
Mm, I like it. I like it. As you pointed out, though, this is definitely not something you're going to warm up or play with the temperature on. You're gonna enjoy these cold for those hot days.
Yeah, I think they're going to avoid kind of all extremes.
Mm,
It's not going to be high alcohol. It's not going to be super fruity. It's not going to be really rich in coating. I think they're aiming for lighter, cleaner, crisper, and it's just going to be that super easy drinking type that you can over chill without any worries. When we teach the sake som classes, we warn the students not to over chill sake because it can really dampen the aromas and the flavors. But I think the Natsu summer sakes are very easy to drink because you can chill them quite a lot and they're going to be just as enjoyable. So there's not
mm.
much worry about over chilling them because they're really meant to be served in that bracing cold temperature.
Nice. So it sounds to me like they looked at the situation and like, huh, people really aren't drinking a lot of sake in the summertime.
Yep.
Let's make something that is a little bit less alcohol so it doesn't completely ruin your day when you're having it outside when it's nice and hot out. And go and leans into the cold, refreshing side of sake and can maybe be something that somebody would pick up instead of a beer.
I hope they do.
Yeah, or maybe instead of a white wine in the
Mm,
US.
yes. Now we've selected one of these summer sakes to enjoy together today, John, and
We
I'm kind of
have.
ready after all this jibber jabber. I am ready
Yeah,
to try it.
sounds
So
good to
what
me.
what sake have we selected to represent our summer seasonal this year?
So I'm very excited because I have not yet had this year's version of it. This is the Shichida Natsu Jun. So it's Natsu Junmai. They love to abbreviate things. And it's a Namazume. So it is once pasteurized. Shichida, of course, is from Tenzan Shuzo over in Saga. We've had quite a few visits to Saga on our show before. And even though they're in Saga, the rice on this one is Dewa Sansan.
Oh,
It's got its own song.
should I start singing?
No, I think we're good. We got Dewa Sansan milled down to 60%.
Yep.
And sake meter values +2. That dryness and sweetness is just a touch on the dry side. Acidity's 1.3. This is so pleasant sounding. And then the yeast is Saga F401 and Association 1801.
All right. So we've got it in the glass. Let's give it a smell.
Yes. I want to say is a touch more aroma on this than I was expecting.
But it's very fresh smelling, isn't it? Like it makes
Oh,
me
yes.
think of cucumber, maybe some pear, bright and fresh. Smells absolutely delicious.
Yeah, and there's a faintness to there's the fruit. There's some, if you're looking for it, there's some tropical fruit on there, but it's very, very faint. The refreshing aspects of it are much more important and much more prominent.
Very nice. All right, let's give it a taste. That's outstanding. That's really good.
Oh, it was nice and hot out today, Tim. I really wish we would have had this outside. We could have set everything up on a table on the street. That would have not caused any problems at all.
Yes, this is refreshing, bright.
Mhm.
It has a super gentle, fruity component to it. But the thing is, it's easy drinking. It's not going to tax any of your systems.
No.
It's not overwhelming with aroma. It's not too rich on the palate, but it's still really clean. And having it
Yes.
nice, I have it very well chilled right out of my sake fridge, and it's absolutely delicious.
So the people at home know, what is your sake fridge currently set to?
It's set to about 47 degrees.
Okay. So nice and chilled.
So it's warmer than a traditional fridge would be. It's actually a modified beer fridge. So that's what the temperature is.
Yeah, those beer fridges get very cold.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is really nice. And this falls into that that category that I often get in trouble with is like, I can accidentally oops, the bottle's gone because it is so light and as you pointed out, I like the phrase not taxing. That's really nice. It's easy. You can
Easy
easily put a drink
drinking.
this. You're easily gonna refill it. You're easily gonna have some more.
Yeah, I feel there's
Especially on a hot day.
Especially on a hot day. Yeah. I feel like there's a peachy note on the palate that didn't come through on the aroma for me. Like kind of a summery, peachy flavor. Had a little crisp cucumber on the palate as well.
The cucumber, I 100% get.
Yeah.
Peach is a little fainter. It's hard for me to pick up. Truth be told, I just had dinner before we recorded, and my dinner was Thai. So my taste buds are a little tired right now. But this is really good.
Really, really good.
Yeah, yeah. And I want to say that this is one of the first that I remember seeing in New York. I think it was probably in like 2018 or so. And I remember like seeing it. They use a frosted white bottle with the baby blue label. And we've talked about the Chichita label scheme and label design of how it's like more or less the same with a big, easy to recognize, very stylistic kanji on the front, and then a different color label for each one of the sakes. And it makes it really easy for people to pick it up and go, oh, hey, I've had this one. I liked the red one from these guys. Let me try this other one. Let me try this green one, or in this case, this blue one. And it's just really nice. And there's a consistency of quality, I think, across so much of the stuff that Sushita puts out.
I think we talked about that on our label episode, right? Where we talked about sake labels. Yeah. And I have the bottle here. And if anyone listening wants to see the picture of this Natsu Jun from Shichida, just visit sakerevolution.com and the show notes will show you a picture of the bottle. And as John said, it's clear frosted with a blue label, and it has the very simple to read Shichida kanji on it with a silver foil. And it says Shichida underneath that in English letters. So it's really simple but easy to recognize packaging. And it follows all the rules for Natsu branding.
Absolutely. I forgot about the silver foil. That is another like nice little touch because it pops. Like that's really nice. It stands out on the shelf, I think.
Yes. And silver is more like a cool color. If it was gold, it would be more warming feeling, but the silver is a little, just feels more cold, cool to the touch. I don't know. It's very, very well done.
Yes.
Beautiful packaging.
Yeah. And then you pour it into the glass and it lives up to that, light and refreshing. Oh, yummy.
Yeah. This is a sake where I would break one of my rules.
All right. Wait a minute. Wait. Time out. What are your rules?
I have a rule.
All right. Which rule specifically are you breaking for this sake?
When I put sake on ice in an ice bucket, my rule is don't use water, just put it on solid ice cubes. But I would actually stick this bottle in ice water. And that
really cold,
really chills it down. You can bring the temperature of a sake down dramatically if you put it in ice water. When I train servers in restaurants, I always warn them, don't let too much water accumulate in your ice bucket or you're going to over chill your sake. And that can dampen aromas and cause sometimes bitterness on the finish if you over chill sake. The wrong kind of sake over chilled is not going to be as enjoyable. But this puppy right here, this one, I would, especially on a hot day, if I was on the veranda or eating outside or, not under my AC as I am now, I would put this in ice water and really bring that temperature down and really chill it. And I think it would make it even more crisp on the finish and bring out that wonderful cucumber brightness and just, overall clean flavors would really come out with that extra chilling.
Nice. So if I have a party in the summertime, I should, Tim Sullivan, I'm going to expect you to bring some ice cold summer sake.
Yes. I'll come with my ice bucket. I'll come with my homemade clear ice cubes.
I was about to ask if you would use your homemade ice for this, or if it's like not the right use of the special Tim Sullivan ice.
I usually don't use my homemade ice to chill bottles, but I can make an exception for your party for sure.
This is this one case.
This very special case. John, all you need to supply is the water.
I'm on it. I got it. I can I can supply some water, and of course I can bring some wine glasses, and we can enjoy all this.
Is this a sake you're going to just drink on its own out on the patio on the
Oh yeah.
lanai, or are you
Oh,
going to pair this with any food?
there's never been a time I've more wanted a terrace than right now. Because I feel like I'm pairing it with the heat, right?
I love it. I love it. Yes, this is paired with sweltering temperatures.
Well, maybe not sweltering. I forgot you just got back from Japan, so it's a
Yes.
little bit more for you.
Yes. Pair this with mushiatsui.
Actually, so having just been over there,
Yeah.
would you even have this outside, or would you just be like, oh no, and it's right back inside?
I would not eat outside in that heat for a case of this sake. No, I'm
All
kidding.
right,
Yeah, it's very unpleasant. And most, outside dining is kind of out of the question. One of the hotels I stayed in had a patio they had like a free breakfast, and they had a patio outside, and it was like empty. Everyone was crammed inside under the air conditioning. It's just, one more month and then cool temperatures are going to return to Japan. But in July, August, it's really hard.
It's atsui.
It's mushiatsui.
Mushiatsui. So I don't know if you caught any of these while you were there, but oftentimes there's a lot of places, a lot of like a lot of sometimes like a tachinomi or standing bars that are kind of open to the outside, but with just like a curtain, like a plastic curtain.
Yeah.
What were they getting customers? Like, what were they doing in this heat?
I didn't see any of those in my travels. I was only there
Wow.
a short time, and I was just in Tokyo. So I didn't see any.
Yeah, I wonder if they just like
outside
actually close it all. They don't even bother with the easy entrance, close it all off and pump the air conditioner. I don't know. I wonder what they do. I'm not wondering enough that I would go to Japan in the summertime and find out, but I will ask somebody who has been to Japan in the summertime and see what they have to say about it. Because a lot of heat, a lot of humidity, or so I've been told. I want to say the hottest it's ever been for me was like being there in like the very beginning of June, and it was like, oh, and the shade is not terrible, but as soon as you step into the sun, it was like, oh my goodness, this is maddening.
Yeah. My first trip to Japan in September, I brought all the wrong clothes. I thought September is going to be like.
Were you thinking autumn?
I was thinking September sounds like, September in New England. I pictured like falling leaves, and I had a turtleneck with me and jeans and cardigans, and it was still really hot in September, but not mushiatsui.
Yeah. I've been told that September has that, it's still got that humidity on it, but not as much heat.
Yes.
And unfortunately, I've also never gone September. And as far as like the autumn leaves go, you have to like wait until like November for that sometimes.
Exactly.
It takes a little while to get over there. But it does happen. We do get the autumn leaves in Japan. It just takes a while.
Yeah. So what's your reaction to this summer sake genre that's emerging? You think it's something that's here to stay, or is this a trend that's going to peter out?
Well, I think that like variety is a great thing, and having sake that is geared towards a really hot day. I really like the idea that they're like, making a sake that goes with the temperature. It's not like they're just kind of repackaging their regular sake with a Nubu label. Hey, there he is.
Right.
This is like, they're seeing a potential market, a realistic one, because it's hot out. 16% is a hard sell when it's like 90 degrees and humid. It's difficult to get people to go for that. So I think that, I think it's a great idea. So I'm excited. I hope it keeps going. I hope it builds and we get like more of that. I like the concept of just like, all right, summertime, it's hot. Here's something a little bit light. Gets more people in the door.
Yeah, and I think with the state of the world, hopefully things will get better in the future. But for now, I think we're stuck with some pretty warm summers coming up. So my prediction is that this will continue to be a trend for a while to come. And I think it's a great way to introduce people to sake in the summer.
Definitely. I think so. As you pointed out, not likely to be getting any cooler. So not a bad idea.
All right. Well, John, this was great. I feel refreshed, actually, after sipping on such refreshing sake.
I'm so happy to hear it.
We talk about pairings usually, and there's so much like refreshing cucumber. I just want to put cucumber on my eyes and like lean back and have a spa day with this sake. It's so wonderful.
And then put a sake kasu mask on.
Yes, exactly. All right. Well, John, so great to taste with you. This is such a fun sake to share. And thanks so much for tasting. And I also want to thank all of our listeners for joining us today. So great to be back in the swing of things. And we really hope you enjoyed this episode. I also want to send out a special hello and thank you to our patrons. If you'd like to support Sake Revolution, there's an easy way to do so. Just visit patreon.com/Sake Revolution. And there you can sign up to support us. And we thank you so much if you do.
And for this episode and for all of them, don't forget that we do have our show notes over at sakerevolution.com. If you want to see the photo of the bottle, and I think we're going to have some other Natsu sake bottles on display there so that you can kind of get a feel for what's the vibe of Natsu Sake. We're going to try to deliver that visually on the site. And, don't forget, we also have our transcript over there as well. The site has a lot of fun things if you want to go exploring. Take a peek sometime. So, on that note, it's hot out, Tim. Grab a glass, pump up that AC. Remember to keep drinking sake and
Kanpai.